We all have our own idea of our dream home. But the reality is many of us have to put up with houses that just don't work.
So we have 3 bedrooms and there are 8 of us.
The main issue that we've got with the house is space.
Nothing worse when you have a row and you can't go anywhere.
But it is possible to get more house for less money. Transforming a house into something spectacular might seem unaffordable, but I really believe it is possible to create your dream home for a fraction of the price of going and buying one if you get it right.
That is what they class as large and in charge.
Last year saw a whopping 164,000 home extensions successfully granted planning permission. But get it wrong and a badly designed extension can knock thousands off the value of a house. Blimey, so you're 50% over already?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're burning about £2,000 a day.
It's a scary moment. In this series, I'll be following the fortunes of those attempting to radically overhaul smaller homes for a fraction of the cost of buying a bigger one. You've made £120,000 of equity in the house. So
That is really good. That's a lot of money.
it's never a simple undertaking.
Stay calm.
The more months this goes on, the worse it's going to get financially. I feel like I'm going to cry.
But the rewards can be immense. And it is huge, but it is fantastic. What more would you wish for?
I don't think I could ask for anything more. It's beautiful.
If you're desperate for bigger and better space, it is possible to get it without breaking the bank. Even the most modest property can be turned into a dream home. And this week, I'm with 2 couples hoping to do just that. In Clapham, London, Stephen's just moved in with Tara.
We'll have to keep these ones.
But bringing 2 households together is proving a squeeze.
I don't think you can keep that. I'm the chaos bringer.
You are the chaos bringer into my life.
But first, I'm off to St Hippolyte's in Hertfordshire to meet musician Ben and his French wife Alex and their children. All 6 of them. A year ago, they took the unusual decision to downsize, moving into this cramped 1950s semi.
So we have 3 bedrooms and there are 8 of us. So we're in the living room, stroke bedroom. We've got 3 lads sharing and we have the 2 girls sharing. Obviously, with 6 kids, there are going to be fights all the time.
Clearly, they need to build a bigger home. And taking on this challenge is design lover Alex.
This is it. This is to prove, give me anything and I can turn into something.
Ben and Alex live in a popular London commuter belt, meaning house prices here in Hertfordshire can be very expensive. But if money was no object, it's this period home they'd buy. So what is it about this house you love?
The character of the house, the space.
Big enough for our family as well, for our 6 children.
Stylish.
In a perfect world, you'd go out and buy a house like this, which is a 6-bedroom house with lots and lots of character. But if you want 6 bedrooms, this is pretty much the option around here, with a big price tag of £1 million.
Understood.
So how far short of affording this millionaire's dream are they? Well, their perfect home's actually on the market for £1 million. With £235,000 tied up in their current property, that leaves the couple needing £765,000. The trouble is, Ben and Alex only have a budget of £100,000. You've got £100,000 and you hope to turn your house into a big 6-bedroom house like this for only £100,000.
I wouldn't say big, I say cozy.
Cosy, not big, cosy. Ah, that's the difference. Despite such a tight budget, Ben and Alex plan to supersize this small house into a spacious family home for 8. I think they're asking a huge amount of this modest 3-bed semi. On the ground floor, there's a front room that doubles up as Alex and Ben's bedroom, a small galley kitchen, and a back room that serves as both dining room and lounge. Upstairs, there are 3 bedrooms shared by the 6 children and the home's only bathroom. At 90 square metres, this home is an average size for the UK.
It's a bit of a tight squeeze, but come on in.
Great, thanks very much. What's unusual is fitting 8 people into it. So do you hear the word move quite a lot in this house?
Yes. You get a lot of get out of my way and move.
From me,
Yeah,
really?
mainly from
Out of my
Alex,
way. Out of my way. I'm coming through, coming through.
Coming through is the one. Yeah.
Coming through.
Yeah.
And many people would say, why did you buy a 3-bedroom house when you've got 6 kids?
OK, there were 2 main reasons for it. The first of which was we could shrink our mortgage and not have a scary mortgage anymore. The second of which was that it was an opportunity for Alex to design a house from scratch.
So, Alex, you've always wanted to create something fabulous out of nothing. Can she pull it off?
Oh, I reckon so, yeah. 100%.
Could Alex be taking on too much, having never done a project on this scale? Downstairs, her plan is to extend out the back and to the side, creating a large kitchen diner cum lounge, a new bedroom and a wet room. Upstairs, a 5th bedroom will be added. And in the loft, bedroom number 6, Alex and Ben's sanctuary, away from the kids. But her plans are very ambitious, and I can't see how Alex can afford to build all these extensions whilst also creating a stylish designer interior. Something will have to give. It's a lot of building work on £100,000.
Yeah, it is.
Too tight.
It's very tight, yeah.
Are you confident you can do it for that?
No. We reckon the loft might have to come later. Might have to do the loft
Yeah,
later.
it's a real downer, yeah.
Isn't that kind of really bad?
Yes,
Isn't it?
it is. It is.
I think the loft should be the priority rather than anywhere else. These are the things I think you should do. I think you should cut down on any costs you possibly can inside. I would keep the wet room as an empty space. Get the pipes there.
Oh,
don't do anything with it. Don't have anything in the kitchen. Have for freestanding bits of units you can get. I think get the space and then worry about putting things in the space later.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that is a good point.
If you don't do the loft, you're going to do all this building work, you're going to spend all the money, you're still going to be sleeping in the sitting room with a computer.
Yeah.
And
we want
otherwise-
that loft. We need that loft.
You need that loft.
We do, I know.
You do.
Badly.
Converting the loft now is a good move, but doing all this building work will cost nearly all their £100,000 budget. So that leaves the challenge of helping Alex create her dream interior on a shoestring. There's no question that Ben and Alex need more space, but even with all of Alex's boundless enthusiasm to create the perfect home, they're going to need money to grow on trees to achieve all they want to within the budget they've got. Clapham, South London, and home to lawyer Stephen and finance expert Tara. Tara's owned this one-bed flat for 12 years now.
It's absolutely brilliant. I absolutely love it.
And I moved in about a week and a half ago. And it's going well so far.
In fact, it's going so well, the couple have got engaged.
We want to get married in November.
That's hideous. But if we want the relationship to last, we're going to have to get some space from somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't think you can keep that.
It's a massive challenge trying to move 2 households into one.
Which ones do you want to keep?
These are Jimmy Choo. We'll have to keep these ones.
I'm the chaos bringer.
You are the chaos bringer into my life.
The average London home costs $500,000. That's double the rest of the UK. But if price didn't matter, it's this Victorian maisonette that they'd buy.
I just love the look of it. The interiors are beautifully done. The space they've created is very open and very light, but very warm and inviting as well, which is just really wonderful.
So this is the house you'd really love to be able to buy, but it would cost around £1 million to buy it. But they don't have that. So what do they have? Well, this couple's dream house also costs a massive £1 million. With £420,000 invested in their current home, that leaves them needing £580,000. But they've got just £120,000 at their disposal. So you're hoping to create the same sense of space with £120,000 rather than the £580,000 you'd need to go and buy something like this?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Stephen and Tara clearly have high hopes for their 120 grand. The big problem is their flat is a ground floor terrace. So the question is, where to extend? They can't go up because they don't own it. They can't go outwards because there's houses on either side. So there's only one direction left to go in, and that's down. At present... Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Their home consists of just 4 rooms. The bedroom is at the front of the house, the lounge is in the middle, and the kitchen diner with bathroom beyond is at the back. Below ground, there's also a tiny basement. Now, it's just a 2 by 6 metre room, but it's this they must convert to turn their flat into a spacious home. So this is the basement that you're planning on extending and, well, massively extending, out in this direction, so right the way onto the house. Are you a fan of this?
It would be nice to have a bit of a man cave down here, but I think, you know, for being pragmatic, and sort of two bedrooms is what we need.
Yeah.
Was there a doorway through there at some point?
Not that I've ever known. When I bought the flat, this was all sealed up.
Are you not kind of fascinated to know? I'm just thinking, maybe you've already got a basement the other side of there. Imagine what a result.
Well, that would be a total result. The space.
Yeah. Wow.
Forget the basement, you've got one already. The couple's plan is to dig out whatever's behind this wall, making their basement 5 times bigger. This space will become 2 new bedrooms, one with an ensuite and a family bathroom. Upstairs, there'll be a lounge and dining room. And at the rear, the old bathroom will be removed and the kitchen extended. But before any of this is possible, there's a lot of digging to do. Oh, it's exciting. Or is there?
Oh my God, there's a fireplace.
What you've actually got is a void under the joists and the floorboards of about 4 or 5 feet, where very often you'd only have perhaps a foot under a Victorian terrace. So that's an awful lot less soil to have to take away, and an easier job for a basement company.
It's brilliant.
This discovery is a real breakthrough, but they've still a long way to go. Tara and Stephen have a massive amount going on. They're trying to amalgamate 2 homes into 1 home. They're planning a wedding. They're doing a massive basement conversion, and they both have full-time jobs. I'm just hoping this all goes smoothly. I'm with 2 families hoping to create spectacular living space without breaking the bank. In St Hippolyte's, Hertfordshire, the Smith family of 8 are currently squeezed into this 3-bed semi, so they're desperate to extend. Building work's only just begun, but they already know their 100 grand budget isn't enough to finish the job. Alex was going to put the loft conversion on hold, but fortunately she's doing it now and opting to save money on interior decorating instead. I'm a bit concerned that their current loft layout, and especially the staircase, is a clumsy use of space. Fortunately, loft specialist companies have a wealth of experience.
The whole idea really is to make sure you're doing the right thing before it's too late.
Yes.
Good plan.
Unfortunately, there is a major issue with where they're planning to put the stairs.
Having looked at the drawing, the problem is the staircase, and I think that needs looking at again.
The proposed stairs leading up into the loft will create an awkward layout throughout the rest of the house.
So we need to look at what they're trying to achieve out of the conversion to see if there are other ways of achieving the same end result in a better way.
Over in Clapham, London, Stephen and Tara have begun their 7-month basement extension.
We want to get married in November, so I really want to come home to a finished house, and certainly not a building site. I think that would be very depressing.
The couple's 120 grand project involves extending the cellar, creating 2 new bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. But just 4 weeks in, disaster has struck, threatening to stop the build forever. The couple had not realised that as leaseholders, it's the freeholder that owns the ground under their home. And they want £25,000 to sell the land to Stephen and Tara. So the freeholder wanted £25,000.
Yeah.
It's a lot, isn't it?
It was an awful lot.
For a hole in the ground, not even a hole in the ground, because we have to dig it out to make it a hole in the ground.
You know, it's just so shocking. It was absolutely horrible, you know, a few sleepless nights, etc., because it's such a large amount of money.
Yeah, so really difficult times.
Very
really.
difficult times. But we managed to negotiate them down to 11.
How's the budget going?
Well, it's just under incredible pressure. That was all of our contingency just gone. The main thing is the wedding's been put off to next year. You know, you want to be happy while you're planning your wedding, and it was just such a stressful and depressing time.
Yeah.
You couldn't even think about doing anything happy.
So you thought we'll park the wedding?
Yeah, exactly. And also
money, you know, so that's, you know, another pot of money that if we need money, we'll have to dive into the wedding fund.
Oh. Stephen and Tara are clearly finding this project tough. So hopefully this beautiful basement will remind them of the dream they're hoping to create. This is amazing space, as you can see.
It's fantastic. It's absolutely amazing.
Doesn't feel like you're underground at all.
And it just feels really light and spacious and part of the main house.
There's a few really clever tricks that make that happen. One of them is to copy the detailing and the proportions of upstairs. The other is to use really clever lighting. There's actually quite a small light well at the front of the basement, but it really throws in a lot of light. But they don't have one at the back. Now, I think it wouldn't be a bad idea for you to think about having a light well in the same way they do at the front of the house here, at the back as well, because it would make a really big difference to try and throw a bit more natural light in.
That's a good idea. Definitely think about that.
If you don't have the space for a large light well, use a mirror shaft system or solar tubes to bring in as much daylight as possible. You can cleverly mimic the changing natural light with artificial light, using the colour temperature of bulbs. Cool blue for daylight and warmer yellow to give the sense of evening. And use a range of different light sources to define areas and change the mood. But back at the build, things are going from bad to worse. Digging out has revealed the building's shallow foundations are near collapse.
To me, John, it looks
Yeah, you can pull it out with your hands, to be honest.
They need urgent reinforcement, and the budget is now under even more pressure. 3 weeks on.
Hi. Hello.
And luckily the house is still standing. But at what cost? You've done some work over here. This has been underpinned, has it?
Yes. So this was an extra cost, the underpinning on this side.
So you thought that this wall had been extended or underpinned down to this level, but discovered it hadn't.
No.
Which is actually quite dangerous.
Yeah.
It's not a great deal holding it up.
No.
And then you end up with the building collapsing,
Yes.
which does happen. Unfortunately, all this extra digging and propping and concreting will have cost.
Yes.
How much does it cost?
About £9,000.
So this is another £9,000 over that you weren't expecting.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, so that's the wedding really done.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I really feel for Tara and Stephen. They've had more than their fair share of bad luck, and now they've had to postpone their wedding. I'm just hoping that they manage to claw back some of the money and time that they've lost and end up with a beautiful home they can really enjoy. If you're interested in finding out more about anything you've seen on tonight's show, visit my scrapbook at channel4.com/Beeny. In St Hippolyte's, Alex is hoping to supersize her 3-bed semi into a spacious home for her family of 8. The key to this is using space efficiently. Unfortunately, there are major problems with her design. Alex's plan is to keep the existing staircase, but adding the side extension means the staircase ends up in the middle of the house. This column of stairs running up through the centre of the home creates an awkward layout and severely eats into precious room space. However, I think there is a solution. There's no question that Alex's current plans are just simply not going to work. So I've got to talk to her about it, and I have got an alternative to show her today that I'm hoping she might go with. Personally, I'd move all the stairs, which will radically change the home's layout. Hi, hello. Hi, how are you? And to help explain the new design, I've brought a model. So this is your house when it's finished.
Brilliant. It's brilliant. It looks really good.
Now, I think the whole problem with your original plans was the position of the stairs.
Okay.
So what I'm suggesting is that the stairs come up here instead of up here. Now, it doesn't actually make any difference really to this floor, but it makes a massive difference when you go further down the house. There's a chain reaction as you go down. So on the floor below, if you have the stairs there, much more traditional layout, and it then means you can have a corridor which goes to all the bedrooms and bathrooms, and on the ground floor, you'd come in the front door and the stairs would be in front of you, rather than higgledy-piggledy round the corner.
It flows. Yeah, I can see. It looks really good.
With this layout, you've got exactly the same number of rooms.
Okay.
It's just that they're better rooms in a better position and better layout.
I can see already. It looks really, really good.
But if you are going to do it, you've absolutely got to decide to do it right now, because right now, nothing will need undoing that has been done. If you don't make a decision right now, quite honestly, it's going to be too late.
I don't know why I didn't think of it in the first place. I didn't think of moving the stairs at all. That's brilliant. It looks so much better.
So you'll do it?
I'm doing it.
Easy sell. With Alex committing most of her £100,000 budget to essential building work, including the new layout, there'll be hardly any money left for creating fabulous interiors. So for a bit of inspiration, we're going to this boutique hotel in London. It's lovely, it's got lots and lots of bits and pieces in it. This place might look $1 million, but looks can be deceptive. Like they've done here, I'm hoping to show Alex that it's possible to create your own eye-catching interior, but on a budget. This hotel has been decorated and designed on a shoestring. The lady who designed this hotel and owns it, she's got one piece of furniture she loves and then designs the rest of the room around that.
Yeah. I like the way she's put it together. The lampshade I like, and the table, the chandelier, that works.
Whilst this has been done on a shoestring, the lady has tried to create this sense of opulence, and that's something that I think that you're quite keen to try and achieve as well,
Definitely.
isn't it?
No, I like opulence in some room, like in the loft.
So you like the bravery of this?
I do.
way?
Originality, unique. Yes.
You're not going to come in and think, ooh, well, it's a bit bland. I mean, the most important thing is there are lots of places you can go that are public spaces, and they are at the forefront of creative ideas. The brilliant thing about a space like this is that it certainly does inspire. You're not going to leave having forgotten it, are you?
Oh, it's brilliant.
But there's still a long way to go back at home before Alex can start to dress her interiors. With the extension nearly weatherproof, builders will soon knock through and start work inside the family home.
I can't wait for this to be knocked down. I just want the space, you know, and see the light again, because we're in the dark in there.
In a way, the building has been built around you and you're still in a little kind of cocoon in the middle.
It's darker and darker.
Alex's family of 8 are used to squeezing into this small home. But with the builders soon to move inside too, it's about to get even tighter. All the building work so far has been outside their existing house, so it's out here at the back and down the side. But the next step is to knock through here. And with 8 people living in the house, there's going to be nowhere to hide. I'm with 2 couples hoping to massively upsize their homes for a fraction of the price of buying a bigger one. In Clapham, Stephen and Tara are 6 months into their 7-month project, and builders have started work upstairs, removing the old bathroom and knocking through into the garden.
It's really exciting. It's so big and open and light.
This will brighten up their kitchen, but I'm worried their current plans will still leave their basement feeling cold and dark. So I want to show them 2 new products that would inject some much-needed heat and light. One is this, which is effectively underfloor heating, but in the wall, so under-wall heating. And put them on the wall and then you can skim them or tile on top of them like this. Or you can light the walls, which you've got here. This is wallpaper, which you can put straight onto the wall. And it's got LED lights within it, so it lights up. This means that the wall itself can either be conducting heat or light without having to have radiators or light fittings.
It does feel quite cold down there, so the heat thing's definitely brilliant.
And LED wallpaper, you think one step too far?
I don't like that particular colour or shape of light or the lines on it.
You're thinking, don't have any of the shapes, none of the lights, none of the colours,
yeah,
and then you might like it.
Yeah, it's a plain white wallpaper.
If you want to learn more about anything you've seen on tonight's show, go online and visit my scrapbook at channel4.com/Beeny. Over at the Smiths in Hertfordshire, 3 months into the build, workmen have broken through into the original home. And the old windows are being replaced. But work hasn't started in the loft. When finished, this will be the couple's bedroom. So, up here, I wanted to show you something. I'm not sure they've really thought through the conversion, and I'd like to show them some new ideas. So you've lived here for 9 months, but you've only been up here once?
That's right, yeah.
Actually, it doesn't surprise me you've only been up here once, because I don't think you've really completely thought through what you're doing up here. I'd like to show you 2 options. The first is what you're planning on doing. You've got a dormer over there, and then the bath. What do you think?
Well, no, it looks boring.
Really? So you're not pleased with it?
No.
Well, I would agree with you, because I think there's lots of reasons it doesn't work. I think having a bath and a basin up here and no loo is a shame. I think the dormer will be expensive, and you're on such a limited budget. And I think there would be a better solution.
Whoa. Oh, my goodness me.
You'd have these great big picture windows like that.
It looks a lot lighter as well.
It will be lighter.
Design looks so nice, so up-to-date as well. Instead of boring, it looks really, I don't know, fresh and...
The second one is by far superior.
So will you change the plans up here, do you think?
Yes.
Definitely. That is so much better.
It's lovely.
Yeah, so much better.
With the new loft layout agreed and building work progressing quickly, it's important Alex now focuses on her budget interiors.
I love the light, I must say.
So we've come to this Aladdin's cave of a salvage yard. It's a bit of a feast for the eyes, isn't it? There's everywhere you look. With most of her 100 grand budget covering building costs, Alex will have to be very frugal when it comes to decorating.
Oh la la, oh the sink. So that's going to be brilliant. That's the one I'm looking for. That's it. I've got it. Found it.
But it's also a great way to create a unique and eye-catching home. Getting the reclaimed look is all about mixing and matching. Aged mirrors and distressed furniture are great items to build the room around. Then match them up with bold fabrics or feature wallpaper. And don't be afraid of clutter. Mix up your period pieces and have them all out on show. Whatever your style, my advice is start looking early, be creative, and make it as personal as possible. Alex clearly has a passion for interior design.
I love this.
Which is lucky because the reclaimed look is much harder to achieve than an off-the-shelf interior.
This is it. This is mine. It's got my name. This is it.
I'm hoping that Alex is inspired by today and it kick-starts a flurry of her collecting together all the bits and pieces she needs for her home, because I think she has the capability of creating high design on a low budget. In Clapham, Stephen and Tara were feeling the squeeze, trying to bring two households together. 7 months later, and with their 120 grand budget well and truly spent, their extension is almost finished. Tara and Stephen have had a whole host of problems with their build, from the foundations to the freeholder, and all of this had a terrible knock-on effect on their budget, which meant they had to put their wedding plans on hold. So I'm back to see whether they got there with the build, and most importantly, whether they set a date for their wedding. Before, this home was a pokey Victorian one-bed flat, and below ground there was just this dingy storeroom. But now they've gained a whole new floor of bright, welcoming living space.
Right, so
in the flat's only bedroom, the wardrobe had become a battleground, with Stephen and Tara fighting over limited space.
I don't think you can keep that.
Now the couple have a sumptuous lounge to spread out and relax in. Look at this. This is your sitting room now.
Yeah.
Certainly is. And there's not a wardrobe in sight. Tara, you lived here for many years, and then Stephen, you came and created chaos in her life.
Yeah.
It was weird to have someone else in my space, but now it just feels so normal and so nice to have a place we've created together.
And presumably downstairs, which was where the worms and the moles lived before, is now where you're sleeping.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, it is. Actually, by digging down into the basement, having your bedrooms and bathrooms down there, and all the ground floor being living space, you've actually turned a flat effectively into a house.
Yes.
Yeah, and it feels like a house. It's lovely.
Yeah.
Going to a different floor to go to bed makes a big difference.
And what a difference. When I was first here, it was just a tiny basement and a load of soil waiting to be dug out. So this is where we bash through with a hammer.
Yeah.
Now it's a whole other level. What a great bedroom. With 2 stunning bedrooms, an ensuite and family bathroom, all naturally lit by these fantastic light wells. Having the little balcony out there and the light well makes this a really good bedroom, doesn't it?
Definitely. From going to the house you took us to and sort of talking about having the double aspect of the light at the front and the light at the back, we definitely took that on board and thought, yeah, you definitely need the light.
Now, I know that space and heat were both an issue. What did you decide to do in the end?
So in the end, we went for the in-wall heating. So we had the heating panels put in the walls of the 2 bedrooms. So
that way we don't lose any space with radiators.
So where are they in this room?
Well, they're actually in the wall behind that cupboard, so you can't see them at all.
So down here you've got this lovely, peaceful haven of bedrooms, and then all the hubbub of living is upstairs.
Yep.
Yeah.
God, it's so light and bright. It feels so much bigger, partly, of course, because not only have you gained the space, where the bathroom was. Now your eye is drawn through the house, right to the end of the garden, which makes it feel so much bigger.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I had done the garden, so it was a shame that you could never really see it from the house, and we never really used it. But now, you know, it's just there to be used all the time.
I think that's my favourite part of the house, actually. It's hard to think what it was like before. It's just totally transformed the house.
Stephen and Tara were desperate to turn this flat into a spacious home they could plan to start their married life in. Well, they've clearly done that. But have they managed it for a fraction of what it would cost to move to their dream home? When you started this project, the house was worth about $420,000. Now, you were planning on spending $120,000 doing the build. What did you end up spending?
We spent 170 in the end. We had the additional valuation fees from the freeholder, extra underpinning for the wall we didn't realise we'd have to underpin. But then every room in the house has been done now rather than just the downstairs. So big expenses we hadn't really thought about.
With their dream house worth £1 million, the couple would have needed to raise $580,000 to buy it. But they've managed to gain exactly the house they wanted for £170,000. That's an impressive saving of £410,000. And that's not the only good news. Well, it's amazing what you've achieved.
Yeah.
And I think it would be realistic at the moment to expect somewhere pretty close to 800,000 if you came to sell it.
Wow.
So if you came to sell, that would be over £200,000 of equity you'd have created.
Oh, yeah. I don't think we could face selling it, having worked so long and hard on making it. Yeah. I definitely want to live here. Main thing was to make the house for ourselves, but that's a staggering amount of money.
Yeah.
So is this now your dream home?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it is our dream home.
And the most important question, are the wedding plans back on?
It'll be, I think, November next year.
November next year. Yeah.
So a year after we were hoping, but it will be from a much happier, calmer place.
Yeah.
And it gives you a year to save for it.
Yes, exactly.
There were times when I thought Stephen and Tara might just give up and stop the build. Yes, they suffered a lot of stress, rising costs, and had to cancel the wedding, but they refused to quit. After a bumpy start, Tara and Stephen have completely transformed their one-bedroom flat into the wonderful home they've got now. And most excitingly, their wedding plans are now back on. Coming up, Alex proves it's not what you've got. I absolutely love this look, but what you do with it that counts. In Hertfordshire, Ben and Alex's build for their family of 8 is 6 months in. A new staircase has been built in the extension, which means the old one can be ripped out. And Alex has been busy picking up and dropping off bargains, like this second-hand kitchen.
Looks nice, though.
With her £100,000 budget spent on the build, Alex is scrimping and saving just to furnish the home. Let's hope her reclaimed interiors scrub up nicely, especially her old sink. It's been around the block, but you do want it to be hygienic and
It needs to
clean.
be clean.
You can get a sink that looks like this, really clean, with good old bicarbonate of soda. OK, so that's the worst of the dirt off, and now to really get it clean, you use this bicarbonate of soda, and then you use really warm water. You mix it up, and then once you've got the paste, you can put it all over the sink. So you leave it to do its work, and once it's dry, scrub it off. No, it's come up really well.
It's really good. Nice and shiny.
Did you imagine it would be able to clean up this nicely?
Not when I first saw it, no. It's brilliant.
If you want to find out more about anything you've seen on tonight's show, go online and visit my scrapbook at channel4.com/Beeny. It's been 7 months since Ben and Alex started work, turning their tiny 3-bed house into a spacious 6-bed home. With their 100 grand now spent, it's time to see how far Alex has been able to stretch the family's really limited budget. Alex and Ben took a big gamble, moving a family of 8 into a house that was really far too small for them. But they had their reasons. They wanted to reduce their debt, and Alex wanted to design the house from scratch. The question is, did it pay off? Before, it was a squeeze fitting all 8 of them into this boxy little house. The TV room doubled up as the couple's bedroom, and meals were eaten off chairs in the sitting room. Now the extensions doubled the size of the house, giving them twice as many bedrooms. And the home's been treated to a much-needed facelift. Hi, hello. How are you? Inside, the tiny galley kitchen has gone, replaced by this huge open-plan area that serves as dining room, kitchen and lounge. A massive space, even for a family of 8. What a beautiful room. This is so gorgeous. It's a treasure trove of eye-catching objects, giving this room a chic je ne sais quoi, and all costing next to nothing. Got so many interesting things and bits and pieces around the room.
Exactly. I think so.
I have to say, I absolutely love it. I think it's wonderful. And you've done a beautiful job.
Yeah, she's done a beautiful job. When I first saw it, honestly, I had a lump in my throat. I was a bit choked up.
Oh,
I was, genuinely.
that's great.
Yeah. We went out for lunch on one occasion, and we sat at a table. When you consider what it was before, serving, 6 children, Christmas dinner on the floor, Christmas tree drawn on the wall because there was no space for one,
This is so much space in comparison. Your next Christmas is going to not be quite like the last one, though.
No, it won't, except we won't be able to afford any presents.
But who needs presents when you've just been given your own room? Before, the children were all packed together. Now the new bedrooms mean everyone has their own space, all stylishly designed by Mum. But there's still one bedroom I'm keen to know if they finished. Ben and Alex's attic sanctuary. Well, it's not quite there yet, but it is transformed into a light-filled space full of potential. This is the hard work done now.
Yeah, it is, yeah. The dirty work's done, as it were. All the beams are done. The windows are in, the plumbing, electrics.
It'll be amazing when this is all done. And you were thinking of having a dormer at one point here.
Yeah.
We did. We don't need it.
Like you said, it'd be better to put 3 windows in a row because it was aesthetically better. It's easy for me to say.
I mean, ultimately, you've got the structure up, but you've prioritised the kids' bedrooms, haven't you? So
Kids first and a nurse.
OK, so this is where you're going to go. I think you'll miss all the kids coming in and out and being in the hubbub of all of it.
Probably will, actually.
Probably not.
You know? Ben and Alex were desperate to upsize their 3-bed semi to fit their supersized family. And they're clearly happy with what they've achieved. But have they got what they wanted for less than the cost of moving into a ready-made dream home nearby? Has it been quite hard work?
It was normal to us.
Yeah, it was just what we had to do, so we did it.
What was the worst moment?
That's a very good question.
There haven't been any bad moments.
Well, there's been a few stressy days. There were times when you got a bit fed up, but most of the time it's been an experience.
I think it brought everybody closer as well. The kids got closer together.
OK, so it's brought you all closer. When you started this project, it was worth £235,000, and you were planning on spending 100,000 changing it. Do you stick to that?
It was about that, wasn't it, in the end?
Yeah. Just a tiny bit over, but we're sticking to it.
Pretty much on budget.
God, that's brilliant. So, well, you didn't have any more money, so you didn't have much of a choice, did you?
Yeah.
With their dream house worth a massive £1 million, the couple would have needed to raise £765,000 to buy it. But they've managed to create a home with all the bedrooms they needed for just £100,000. That's an amazing saving of £665,000. But that's not the only good news. I think it now is realistically worth £450,000. So you've made £115,000 of equity. Is that right?
She's not impressed.
Not. Are you a bit disappointed? Where would you hope it to be?
490, no less.
Really?
It's going to be unique. And uniqueness don't sell for that price.
Would you have done this project if it only created £115,000 of equity?
Because I don't do it for the money, otherwise this is where you lose. You've got to do it with your heart, you've got to do what suits you, but I want more than that.
Alex's passion for eclectic interior design may well end up achieving the price she'd hoped for as and when they come to sell. But this build was never about making money. Alex and Ben have proven that it is possible to reduce your debt and still live in the house of your dreams. And with Alex's eclectic taste, she's also shown that with very little money, you can achieve something fabulous. Next time, Graham and Alana's restoration dream
We're wasting our time and we're wasting money.
threatens to turn into a nightmare.
We're taking the build on ourselves now.
While Oliver and Lucy's huge extension
That is large and in charge.
goes massively out of control.
We're burning probably 10 to 15 grand a week at the moment.
Pants, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.